Yeah, so we'll get that from Rose, get everything signed off, have that sent in to me, and then I'll forward it to the help desk for them to create your passwords. We're just not allowed to have anybody logged into the system without signing the confidentiality and getting the appropriate access signed by the supervisor. All right, well, welcome to training. I'm glad you're all here. Many of you have been here before, and a couple of new faces that I haven't seen. My name's Natalie. I'm a RN, a clinical informatics nurse. I've been an RN for 24 years now. And most of my clinical time and experience was at Sharp Healthcare in San Diego, where I worked as a trauma nurse and a heart transplant nurse. And then, and just a lot of cardiac kind of care in general, multiple different types of surgery and things like that. I moved up to this area about 10 years ago. I worked at Riverside County for 5 years in nursing quality, and then I went into informatics while I was there to help build and bring up their system that they went with, and then came over here to Hemet because I live right down the road. So I decided it would be really nice to have a 5-minute drive to work, and it has been, and I've been here for about 5 years. My whole focus here has been mostly quality in the beginning, and then the EMR. So part of the reason why that worked really well is just because I'm responsible for making sure that we have all of our regulatory requirements in the system and that we're meeting those and doing okay. So most of the clinical documentation I've hand typed by hand. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of that. Most of our focus today is going to be on getting in, selecting a patient, reviewing any history that's in the system on the patient, and then making sure that you get orders placed. Because you're the one that's taking the orders, we want you to be the one entering the orders. Oftentimes before, we would have some stuff over here on paper that maybe you took a telephone order for when you're calling or using whatever sheets that you're using, and then the nurses were trying to get that same stuff in the system, but they weren't the ones taking the orders. So we want you as nurses to be putting in your own orders in our application. And then what I am going to show you is what we call just a quick progress note. It looks like a little piece of paper with a pencil on it, very easy to identify, and you can click on that and you can make notes in our system. Just free texting, whatever you want to place. So I don't think that we're going to run the full 4 hours today. We're probably just going to run a couple hours because I really just want to focus on that area of the system. Placing the hospice orders and then making a note. Sound good? Mm-hmm. All right. So you all should be logged in except for I think 2 of you that need to get access forms. Now that you're logged in, you should be seeing the same screen that I have up here. Anybody not seeing this screen?
I went on over to Care Glance. Should I back out?
Well, if you have already gone, we'll let you be there. Stay right there. Okay, for everybody else, down in the bottom left corner of the screen, you're going to see a small multicolored circle. I want you to click on that circle. Tom, are you good? You're not moving. Circle, down at the bottom, left-hand side of the screen. You're going to then click on all programs. That's your start menu. Then you're going to click on all programs. And then find McKesson, M-C-K-E-S-S-O-N. That is the company that our electronic system is built by or owned by. Once you click on McKesson, you're going to go down to where it says Paragon 12.1.4. Paragon is the name of the clinical application. 12.1.4 is the version that we are on. We update those versions periodically throughout the year. Anytime we do an upgrade, you may see a different number, so don't let that confuse you. It's just a number that says what version we're on. After that, you're going to click on Clinical Care Station. Looks like kind of like a yellow folder icon with a piece of paper in it or something. That is all of the nursing documentation, social services, all of that stuff, and it basically takes you to the unit. The system is going to ask you to put your password again to enter Clinical Care Station. You're going to use the same password that you just created, username and password. So your login ID, first initial of your first name, then your last name, your password, put in whatever you created. Okay, is everybody where I'm at right now? Anybody not where I'm at? Because I'm going to come around and check, so get your screen ready. You're good.
I have never seen that pop up before.
Okay, it pops up every time.
I've never seen it. Isn't that funny?
I think it did when I was over here. Marta, it did when I was at the care center
Okay.
over here, but I only had.
Once you get to this screen, some of you will have 3 facilities, some of you may have 4 facilities. This is where you're going to pick the facility that you are going to. Primarily, you all go to Hammond Valley Medical Center or Menifee Valley Medical Center. But we do have a subacute long-term care unit, and we also have a skilled nursing facility across the street. If any of you do not have the skilled nursing facility across the street, when we first did our classes, we did not have an actual signed contract for the skilled nursing facility. We do have that signed contract now. So if you do not have Hammond Valley Healthcare Center, please come see me after class. We'll need to call the help desk and get you access to that facility. All right, once you have your facility selected, which I would like all of you to go to Hammond Valley Medical Center. This is where I've got training patients for you. You are in a test environment. Test environment is not real patients. These are not real. They're kind of play patients. There's a lot of crazy information in there because we play with them every week during training. So you're going to click on Hammond Valley Healthcare and then click on your OK button. So you have it. Oh, you don't have it on your list? How weird. Okay, I'm just going to have you go to, oh yeah, you do Hammond Valley Medical Center, right?
I think you said healthcare.
You have it.
Okay. So here, this one?
Valley Medical Center, yes. Yeah. Oh, the other one you don't.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have.
you'll see me after class.
Yeah. Hammond Valley Healthcare.
Okay. If you get a pop-up like this, just say no. I get it every time because I play around with stuff. But if you get that pop-up in the live environment, that means that you started some documentation that didn't save correctly. With the type of documentation you're going to be doing, it is very unlikely that you will have that problem. All right, does everybody have this screen? Anybody not have this screen? All right, so this is your main screen. You got there, so that's great, right? We're all there. Once you get into this screen, you're going to notice a bunch of icons in the middle. You're also going to notice these same icons up at the very top. And also at the very top, you have some additional icons. Most of those you will not be using. However, I'm going to point out 2 of them. The first one up at the top is the one with the split black and white face. Do you guys all see that on your screen? Little black and white face up there. This is patient profile where you view patient history. And I should have said 3 things I'm going to show you. To the right of that it looks like, and here's what I like to call it, the screaming doctor. Screaming doctors. I say that so people will remember it. Screaming doctor, right up here, it's kind of a blue icon with a black shape of a person in there, and looks like, you know, he's screaming out of his mouth.
What's it called?
CPOP.
This is called
CPOE.
CPOE. This is the icon you're going to use to place orders.
Oh, CPOE, okay.
CPOE stands for Computerized Physician Order Entry. It's where our doctors go directly to place orders and where nurses go to place telephone orders, which is 99.9% of the orders that you will be putting in, I'm guessing, if not all of them. Okay. To the left of patient profile, about the same distance to the left, you're going to see a pencil icon, and that pencil icon is progress notes. That is where you're going to be going to make notes. These icons are going to be at the top of all of your screens, so you can get to them at any point in time in the application. At the top of your screen, if you forget what the icons mean or what they are, and you come back and you say, I don't know what I'm going to do, you can hover over an icon and it tells you what it is. So when I hover over my screaming doctor icon, it tells me exactly what that icon is. You can also, if you're fancy with your mouse, if you're not fancy with your mouse, don't worry about it. But you can also, in the gray area up here at the top, you can right click, go down and say show text. Then the descriptions are underneath. However, you'll notice that your icons, some of them have now gone off of your screen, so you have some missing, including your screaming now. So I tend not to use that very much. If I forget what an icon is, I usually just go ahead and hover over it to see. To undo it, you just go back up in the gray area, right click, and then unclick the show text.
I never found the show text.
Don't worry about it. That's what I'm saying. If you're not gonna, be fancy with it and do, it's just easier sometimes to hover over. But some people use that a lot.
In this order, so order management is.
Oh, so you clicked on an icon up top is what happened?
Yeah, no, I'm just asking you, order management, when I've actually been in the facility, I've gotten kind of lost in there. I guess from what you're saying, that's not one that we'll be using.
No, you never need to go into there.
Okay.
For the most part. You can view orders from there and we can look at that, but you're gonna be the ones putting in the orders, you know what you place. And there's a way to see them. Okay, so everybody's with me, right? We're good? Okay. The other thing I want to point out that's throughout any screen that you're on in the system is what we call our help menu. Do you see the word help up at the top? If you click on help, and then you pick Paragon Help, everything you need is at your fingertips in this document. This is every bit of training material that you could ever imagine needing. Right there. This is a huge document. It's probably, I don't know, a couple 100,000 pages. I don't know how many pages it is total. It's a big document. But there is right here, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a directory with topics, and if you click on one of them, it'll take you directly to the area that you want to go for help. So for example, If you're looking to put orders, you can say orders. You can look for where it says order management, or look for, CPOE. Sometimes what I do even is I'll right click in the box, and again, if you're not fancy with computers, don't worry about doing this. This is just a shortcut, and then you can say find, and you can type what it is that you're looking for. Less is usually better, so like if I want to just type CPOE, I can type CPOE and then see what comes up. Also for CPOE, for your computer entry, I've given you a handout that you should all have that was up at the front of the class, so make sure that you bring that with you.
Okay, excuse me, I don't see where the find is on the end of this.
You have to right click in the
Oh, I see.
right, and then do find, and then you can type. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other copies?
I do. There's a small staff there. Okay. And again, even when you go to CPOE, that help desk is in there. That help menu is on all the screens. All right, so is everybody now out of that help menu and back to the screen? Anybody not? All right, so the next thing you're going to do when you come in, after you log in and you get to this screen and you say, okay, I'm ready to find the patient that I'm supposed to be taking care of, you're going to click on Care Glance, the icon, right in the middle of your screen. That icon is going to take you basically to a search menu screen. Up at the top of the screen, you see all those icons still, but you also see some boxes here that give you some options. So the one that I typically use, and that will probably be easiest for you, is select the nursing station that the patient's on, right? So you generally know what floor and what room you need to go to. So the first thing you're going to do is go to that drop down, find the unit, which for training purposes, I want you to go to Tower 2, 5th floor.
Okay, excuse me. I clicked on Care Plan Inquiry. It was Care Glance, you said, right?
Care
So
Glance.
How do I
If
go
you
back?
got stuck, always to go out of a screen, you're going to use the yellow arrow up in the top of your toolbar.
Close.
Now you should be back.
Okay.
Okay, so Care Glance, and then pick your unit. Once you have a unit up at the top, you're going to click the green arrow in the top right of your screen. That's also like a refresh button as well. So you picked a floor, now refresh your screen, and all the patients on that floor are going to show up.
I'll have the last thing last name.
Pardon?
They all have the same last name.
They do. They do.
That's easy to alphabetize.
Name alert, name alert. Okay. Once you go to this screen, you're now going to pick your patient. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do in numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just count down and pick your patient. And remember which patient you're picking, please. And I'm just picking one down here. To pick a patient or select a patient, just click anywhere on that line and they will highlight in blue like mine has. All right, does everybody have their patient selected? Fantastic. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the process when we have a hospice patient who has been an acute care hospital patient and now is being changed over to hospice. And this is kind of a key piece of information, so I just want you to kind of think about what happens. For billing purposes, the patient account that they had in the hospital needs to be discharged out of there. Discharged out. Now they're going to put the same patient with the same medical record number with a new visit, new account, new visit account in the bed. Now in order to put the new account, they have to take this one out, put the new one in, and you're going to have two of the same person until midnight. Now after midnight, the discharged account will drop off the screen. But until midnight on that day, you're going to have two of the same name. How do you know which one's the hospice patient and which one is not? The new account will have regular typing. Their name will be regular typing. The discharged account will be italicized. The discharged account will be italicized. If you see an italicized name, do not use that name. You must use the new hospice account. On the first day where you come in and you're like, okay, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm supposed to see this patient, new hospice account, and I only see one name here that day, that very day that they were changed, you may need to go to the nursing station and say, look, this patient should have a new hospice account. I need to verify that this is the new hospice account and not the old hospital account, because I'm only seeing one on here. You should, the first day until midnight, you should have two. One that's italicized and discharged, and the new one for hospice.
On admission, you're talking about.
On admission,
Now,
for the first admission day.
do we do anything on that acute care chart?
You do
get
not.
it too?
You do not.
You
do
don't
not.
write it like a discharge and,
You're not discharging them, they were not your patient. They were not your patient on that old account. They only become your patient when they are admitted to hospice. So that means a new account. All right, so for training purposes, we are assuming that we are now on the new account. You picked your patient, that's the new account. And the first thing that you will need to do is place the admission orders. You're going to pick up the phone, whatever your process is for obtaining those orders, and at that point in time, you are now going to use, who wants to guess which icon? Okay, screaming doctor, right. So we're gonna put in that those doctor's orders. So up at the top, you're just gonna click on that icon, CPOE verbal orders. And you'll have to give it a minute to load, and mind you, we're in the test environment. The test environment's a little bit crazy. We got a lot of stuff in there. So don't get caught up on all the junk that you're gonna see in here. Like the patient's gonna look like they have 1,000 orders already. When you have a new hospice patient, they have no orders. But initially, you might see a lot of stuff on these. Okay. Once you log in, you should now see an area for you to select the ordering physician. So who was it that you took the orders from? Yes.
so to get to that point, we have to, like, if it's after hours, we have to call like the emergency room or the admission off, or,
Who do you get your admission orders from normally?
Dr. Gone.
well, no, I need to have a new hospice chart created. We
If
don't do that, right?
you don't do any of that,
So who do we contact to do that?
you can say to the nurse on the floor, look, patient was discharged and I don't see a new hospice on here, new hospice account.
But most of the time, we won't be seeing that discharge, because we'll be, evaluating the patient and then.
You're gonna see an italicized account, and then you're not gonna see your account,
I
or you'll just
understand.
see one.
But at the very beginning, like say we go in to do an evaluation of an acute care patient, they qualify for say GIP, and so we're going to start the ball rolling to get that hospice chart initiated. We
I usually call or the person who's doing the admissions, and I send a copy of the level of care and the face sheet, and ask them to discharge that patient and create a new account.
So that would be like the emergency room after hours?
It's a little tricky after hours,
Yeah.
because then they say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody knows.
Yeah,
Nobody-
they have admitting nurse, okay, so most night shifts, here's how it works here. Some areas have a clerical person who can do the admits, some do not. Sometimes they're sharing one for multiple areas. There is always one continually in the ED. If you get stuck, you can't get a hold of somebody, you're not sure, call the house supervisor. First talk to the charge nurse on the unit, but if they're not able to help you, which I can't see why not, that they wouldn't be able to, you can call the house supervisor as well.
Usually, a lot of times in the ER, they look at you like, what, they say you need to close this account and open a new one. And they don't, I say, do you have a supervisor? Can you call your supervisor?
Yeah.
And ask them how to do it.
Right, yeah. And that's what they need to do. We
Yeah.
need to get the onus where it belongs.
Yeah.
You guys aren't the admissions office.
Right.
You're hospice nurses, you're here to provide hospice care.
Right.
You're here to make sure you're doing it on the right account, so you're telling them, look, I need to do my job and I need to do it on the right account. Please get that account added for me.
So most of the time, we won't even be seeing that italicized chart.
You will.
After they've
I mean, when they finally
Discharge.
and as long as it's before midnight.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And then it'll disappear sometime after midnight, because we have jobs that process in the
Okay.
background, and it looks for all the discharges, and then it just wipes them out of the screen, so you're not seeing the discharges there. But for the day they're discharged, they'll show until midnight. All right, so everybody should be here. In real life, did you click on the screaming doctor? Okay, click on that screaming doctor. I saw the face of, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Okay, once you do, then you are going to type, for training purposes, you're going to type test, for test doctor. And then click on the green arrow just to the right.
Excuse me. I have it on that screen. I have a box that says several add-ons are ready for use. Do I choose the add-ons or do
I
I
am not
don't
sure
enable?
what you have done.
All
right,
I haven't done
let's take a
anything
look.
except for get here.
All you're gonna do is what I asked, that's a pop-up,
Yeah, that's-
don't worry about
Just
that.
ignore it. I
Right,
have to
just
take
do what
that.
I'm asking you to do as we go along. There are gonna be other things sometimes on the screen, for a
I'm
lot of
always
things.
afraid
So
of
for
screwing your
example,
system up.
yeah, no, you won't mess it up, and we're in tests, so you can't mess it up.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I'm on the floor, I'm always afraid of screwing the system up.
No. But the important piece is just, if you follow everything I'm doing and you stay within that lane, right? Stay within your driving lane, you will not bother, hurt, or do anything to anybody else. Or the system. But here's what I always like to tell my husband when he goes off on a tangent. I say, well, if you're gonna be a runaway train, at least be on the right track. Don't be off on a, something somewhere else. All right, so once you have test doctor, you're going to select, so click on that select button. And then the system is going to ask you to confirm the physician. You're going to click on that confirm button. The reason they ask you to confirm, and just for your knowledge, we have a lot of doctors, if you didn't know that already, with the same last name. We have the husband, the wife, the son, the daughter, all doctors working here. And so you want to be very careful that you have the correct physician, correct first name and last name. After that, you're going to click the type of order that you're placing. In your case, unless a doctor is literally screaming at you in an emergency, you will never click verbal. You do not have authorization to do protocols in our system. The only ones that we have for the floors is pneumovax and influenza. And then you could click protocol, but you won't be using those. So the only one or option you have is telephone.
Sometimes I'm talking to the doctor right there at the desk though, who's giving the orders.
If he's at the desk, he can put them in himself. That's the rule. Joint commission,
Great.
Joint commission does not permit, first it doesn't permit verbals unless it's in an absolute emergency and the physician is present. The only areas permitted to do verbal orders are code blues on the floor, ICU in a code, and ER. Yes, we can get in a lot of trouble for having those verbals. So we do not want to be selecting verbal, nor are we to take verbals. Now, I understand the circumstances when you're on the floors, and sometimes you just kind of do a little favor for the physician. That you do at your own risk. You do not document anything other than telephone in our system. Once you select telephone, enter new order, and that should bring you to this screen. Now we're going to have some fun. This is the fun part. And this is where I've been receiving the majority of calls since the first training class. So this is why we're going to focus on this piece of the system. All right, is anybody not where I'm at? Sorry. I want everybody with me. All right. You are going to notice a small drop down right to the right of the search drop down where it says all. This is how you filter the type of orders you are looking for. So if you click on the down arrow, I'm going to tell you which ones are the most helpful. Order sets, medication, and all. Those are the ones that you really need to use. Order sets to get your first hospice admission order set placed. Medication if you're just entering meds. And then all for everything else you're searching for. Does that make sense? Okay. So to start, the first thing you are going to do is your order set. So I want everybody in the drop down to say order sets. Once you've selected order sets, in the search box, I want you to type hospice. And then you'll see it just down below, or you can click on your go button. It's going to ask you if you want to start an admission medication reconciliation. You are going to select no every time. Only doctors can do that. And it's kind of weird in CPOE. It's like it doesn't know that you're not the doctor right then. So it's saying this pop-up box comes up no matter who starts an admission order set. So we're just going to say no. And voila, your hospice admission order is now open. Everybody have their orders set.
Not yet. After I get them down and tell you.
We're on videotapes, you.
I know, but I'll probably never have time to look at it.
You'll be doing this afternoon.
All right, we're gonna wait for you.
Besides, I don't remember unless I write it down anyway. I'm not an auditory learner.
Yeah, I know mine do.
Okay, I'm just,
Okay, so you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's some orders already selected. Only the orders on the right-hand side are good. Those are the ones you've picked for the patient. In order to add things to the right side, you have to click them on the left side. In order to remove them from the right, you unclick them on the left. So all of the work you're going to do primarily is going to be on the left-hand side in order to add or remove orders from the right-hand side. So I'd like all of you to look at the first set of orders. It says hospice orders, admission orders, hospice admit orders. Then it says choose one admission order. You're going to click the box next to that, and then all of the boxes underneath will light up for you.
So should we do that now?
Go ahead and click one of them underneath. And I think it only lets you select one. Yes. Now, in the last class we had questions like, well, what if it's none of those? What if it's another reason? You'll notice that the last one says other, right? Everybody select other.
So too, since I went ahead and didn't click other, I clicked something else, do I?
How do you remove it from the right?
Just-
Unclick it on the left. On the left-hand side, right. So on the left-hand side, you can unclick that one and click the one that says other. The reason I'm having you select other is because I want to show you how to change an order and add more information. Is everybody with me? All right, so we picked other. That means that we've got to put the reason in, right? Because it's not built in. So what you do is over here on the right, you're going to double click that one. So double click that admit to hospice other. And right here in the instruction box, type in the other reason that you're admitting to hospice, whatever that might be. And then click save. That's how to alter an order. Pretty easy, right? All right, so I'm going to give all of you about 5 to 10 minutes to go down the rest of this sheet, rest of the order set, and start putting some orders in. I want you to think about your scenarios. Think about the types of things that you would order. Remember that if that order is not in this order set, we have to go and put it in individually after we're done with the admission order set. I want you to practice while you're doing this over the next 10 minutes. Opening stuff up that you choose, like if you choose a medication, open it up over here. See what your options are. There's a full edit where you can actually change the frequency and things like that.
Okay, I've got a question. Sorry. I clicked on the other. Now I have a window, but I don't see where to type in another reason. What I have, so I probably screwed up somewhere.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, I don't have
Instructions, right here, that's where you're gonna type.
That's right.
Right.
instructions. Okay. When I typed that, I typed in that and I saved it, I saved it. Is that where it's supposed to? Oops, tell me something.
No, you're good.
And then I
So put it
saved.
in instructions.
Yeah, so it's there, so if you open it up again, your instructions is in there. Double click on it. Just make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And you can save.
Okay, Bradley, unfortunately, I didn't memorize my list of things, so I typed in end-stage renal disease, so since it's already on there, should I have that
The
shown?
order's here, it's, if you open it.
By double clicking?
Oh, click what's down.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so
save.
I don't have a problem in that it's already also on the list.
On the list, what list are you
So
talking
how do
about?
I
We
go-
haven't created any list.
How do I go back again?
You can cancel the edit or save.
Okay, see, it's already on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I typed
Oh,
in-
it's okay, we're just training.
Okay.
But in real life, it's already on there, you should pick that one. Yeah, but,
Actually,
yeah.
by the time they get to us, they're in here.
I think I got this, but instructions where you could, if it's in that room, if it's in the room.
Yes, right, it just shows up
But
with the
then it
order.
doesn't show up there, it doesn't.
When the order leaves the order set, then it shows for
Oh.
all the people looking at it.
Okay.
But this is how you would do it, to add that in. Some fields, depending on what you're opening, some say common, some say instructions, some say, yeah. But I just want to make sure you're all familiar
Sure.
with how to add anything you want, you can type to the order. And it's part of the order,
Right,
so it goes as an order,
right,
yeah.
okay.
So go ahead and play around with a few different types of orders that are in that order set, and that'll help you kind of.
If the GIP is for more than one reason, do we pick other and then list them?
Yeah, you can.
Because it does say choose one, I can only pick one, correct, on this first.
If you have more than one GIP reason,
Click other.
you can click one and then open it up and then type the rest of them in the
Oh, in the
instruction,
same
in the
one.
instruction
Okay.
box.
Okay, so I can go over to the right and, oh, I see, yeah,
I
okay.
clicked NPO diets and then undo it, but I apparently kept clicking on that.
They have to have some kind of diet.
Right.
So either that one or that one. Yeah. That
Oh,
one.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll
Because
undo it.
diet orders, every admission has to have certain
Some
things.
kind of,
They all need a code status, they all have to have a diet order, even if it's NPO. They all have to have, you know, some of those key things they have to have.
Okay, and, okay, so if they're not, I see, so I'm not gonna click something in every box.
Right, you're gonna click. Right. And again, you can always hand type of some things in. We try to build as much as we can that's not your free text, you know, things.
Yeah, that's great.
But sometimes you need to add and free text some stuff in those comment boxes.
Really, sometimes it's, I have to change it. Okay, this is where I always get, oh, go ahead,
Oh, I'll need to bring that.
because it's not, half the time it's not, but you can.
Somehow I ended up with 2 mechanical saws.
Patients can have more than one diet. They can't have an MPO in
No, I know.
other one, but they can have more than one.
Like I typed, honey thickened, mechanical soft, and then down here, but I ended up with 2 orders.
Okay, you'll notice there are 2 areas on the diet, liquid modification and, what's the other one called?
Texture.
Texture modification. No matter what type of diet you choose for the patient, soft is a consistency, it is not a diet type. Liquids must have a consistency. Do they need thickened liquid? Do they need, can they have thin liquid? You must pick a liquid and a texture consistency for any diet that you're picking.
Okay.
So you're gonna pick 3 things. You're gonna pick the modification for liquid, modification for texture, and then a diet. Of course, unless they're NPO, then you'll pick one of those.
So it's perfectly fine to have 2 mechanical softs on here.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, this is where I always mess up, like, let's say I'm giving morphine, I don't know, 4 milligrams Q1 hour is needed. And that's not an option, so then trying to change it, that's where I,
Okay, so you don't have to change it here. You can go out and order it by itself. Usually that's what I recommend. If there's a medication that is not in the order set, you won't put it in via the order set. You're gonna put it in as a one-off order individually, once we're done with the order set. So I'm gonna go ahead and start finishing up mine.
You must be waiting,
Yeah, but-
baby, Marta. I didn't even come to meds yet. Let's see. So under the nursing orders,
it's at the beginning.
looks like theirs are already pre-checked.
Most of them, let's
So
see,
I don't
let's
have
go
to do
down.
anything else.
Right, those are pre-checked and already on the right-hand side, some of the nursing orders.
Okay.
So how do you go back to your, where all the filters are, to go back to?
When we're done with the order set completely,
Oh,
Then
you
we
can do
will-
it. Okay.
yeah, then we'll all do that as a group. Yeah.
Would you mind repeating the instruction that you gave to Marta on the morphine Q1 hour? How do you
She
do that?
wanted to put a different, morphine in there. And so if it's not in the order set, then don't pick it in the order set, and then we're gonna order it as a one-off order after we're done with the
I
order
see,
set.
okay.
These are just the most common admission orders that Arbor Hospice provided us to say, these are our most common, these are what we want in the order set. There are thousands of orders available, thousands. But we only chose the most common that we were provided
I
to
see.
place in here. If you feel that there's one that you're finding yourself ordering all the time, one off,
I would think it would be every 1 or 2 hours, wouldn't you, Marta?
Yeah, well, you just have to fix it.
yeah,
Yeah.
It
And-
depends, it's,
depends on the orders.
yeah.
Sometimes, like if you want to change the frequency, you can do what we talked about. If the dosage is right, sometimes you can put it over here, open it up, say full edit, and then change the frequency.
Oh,
So that's why I wanted you to play with some of the different order
Okay.
types in here. Move them over to the right, open them up, and change the frequencies. So if I demonstrate that, you're welcome to watch me on the screen. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna highlight my morphine IV. And I have some Q4, Q3, and let's say I want to change my Q3 to a Q1.
yeah,
I can double click on it right here on the right hand side,
okay.
and then I can say right here at
Oh,
the
I
top
see.
where it says every 3 hours,
Uh-huh.
I can type, let's see, Q, it's gonna let me, I have to do full edit, I think.
And where's the full edit?
Yeah, I got to there and then I couldn't
Okay, so on this one you can't. On some of them, it says full edit down at the bottom.
Okay, yeah, I got to that point and I was like,
Okay, so.
Right.
Do that one.
So some you can, some it doesn't let you. Now in this case, I clicked on the X. On the X,
I did that too.
Oh, and then you can type in the Q1 out.
I'm gonna try it. Q1, click my green arrow, and there's, ooh, it did every 1 or 10 hours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna find my Q1 hour in the drop down.
Okay, so I can do it.
I
Yes.
didn't find a drop down.
But I wrote every.
And then
instead
say
of Q,
save.
so
Oh,
that's
did you
why.
write every?
You have to know.
Okay. You found it with the typing in every?
Q.
Okay.
Yeah, Q1. And then the green arrow. Oh, you put a space.
Oh,
Did I
yes.
do it right?
Q1, green arrow. Okay, now go in the drop down
Oh, I see.
and pick the frequency you want. And there's your Q1.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes the screens are a little, you know, depending on the type of order and how that order's created, when you open them up on the right, you're gonna have some different options to be able to find things or change the frequencies, stuff like that. So just play around, that's
Yeah.
what we're here for.
I got to that point, but then instead of writing Q, I wrote every.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
so it didn't
yeah,
pull up.
I can see.
You have to know the language.
The language, usually the key, like for me, is when I first open it up, it said Q3. So I knew that I needed to put Q1.
All right.
That's a good trick, just to kind of know what you need to type, is what was there before.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then on the save, I don't see, oh, wait, maybe I didn't go down far enough. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I looked, I changed mine to the here. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
right?
Okay.
And I hit
Let's
save,
see.
right?
Yes, there you go.
And now it still says the 3.
It will.
Oh, okay.
It will. Yeah, and that's a little bit confusing, so that's why I say, and that was a good thing that was pointed out, is if you change the frequency in the background, you may not see that frequency appear on the screen.
But when the
So-
nurses look at the orders, will it show up correctly on the
It
bar?
will show when it goes to pharmacy, but pharmacy might have to put a different order in to get it. That's why I like to say, if it's not in the order set, you probably want to order it one-off. But my goal today is to make sure that you know how to make changes when you're in the order set. But usually if it's not there, I just recommend it as a one-off. It's much cleaner, it goes the way it's supposed to, nobody else has to do anything, and then we're in good shape.
And when you say one off, what does that mean?
By itself, not from the order set. Yeah,
So add it as a, yeah.
by itself, yeah. We call them one-off orders.
Maybe I missed it, I clicked on the more thing, because I wanted to change some things, but now I wanna go, how do I go back?
Just save or cancel edit. You need to use your scroll bar, the buttons are done towards the bottom.
Oh, there, oh, I
Yes,
see.
there you go.
Oh, okay, thank you, so I don't hit that one.
And then, change it to Q2 hours.
Oh, you got a space after the two.
You know what?
A space after the two.
Okay.
Between the cube and the two.
Oh, between, after Q. Oh, we didn't see that.
Yeah. And I would take the hours out, because I have to say something. Just keep two. And now. And now we
Oh,
use your drop
yeah,
down.
now I got that.
Because you can see all the commercial parentheses and all that. And that's why I always tell people less is more when you're searching. Because we don't have the exact amount
Then
of
you
letter.
did say, and I was getting a prompt that said frequency is required.
Yeah, got it. But again, this one, you're not even gonna change it.
No.
As long as you just order parts.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we get to the bottom of the page where there's no more choices,
Uh-huh. So,
All you do is carry.
everybody should be getting close to wrapping up, right? Most of you. Anybody not close to wrapping up?
I just
I
don't,
was just practicing.
Okay.
yeah, I'm assuming the next step will be adding the one.
The individuals,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Once you're done, you look over everything on the right, it looks good, you're happy with it, you did a fantastic job, you've added any comments that you needed to add, and your orders are perfect, except for some things that weren't on here.
Mhm.
You're going to go ahead and click on your save button. And if you are like me, I forgot to enter all of the diet orders that are required. So it's telling me that I've got to choose one item and I haven't picked one. So I need to go on the left-hand side and look for that. Where is that? So I have a D5 half, but I didn't choose a rate. So I better do that.
So you, I guess I did choose correctly, but I would get a prompt if I hadn't.
Right.
Okay.
If there's something on here that's kind of required, or it says choose one and you didn't choose one, it's gonna ask you to go back through it and look at them. Like maybe I don't want anti-anxieties, but that was selected at the top of mine.
Okay.
Up here, I had a D5W, but I didn't want that. I wanted D5 half, so I had to unclick it. Oxygen orders, I needed to pick something and I didn't.
On oxygen, if you're using a non-rebreather mask, then
You would
to
put that
set
separately. You would just unclick it all the way up to the top here. Unclick where all the arrows
Uh-huh.
or clicks are, or check boxes are. You're gonna unclick those. And see, I picked an MPO, so I'm okay. Now I'm gonna try to save. And now it's saved.
Why would, no, but if I want to put in for non-rebreather masks?
You need to put in a one-off order, because it's not in there. Remember, we have orders we still have to put
Yeah,
in.
well, it's there,
There
but it
is a
doesn't have,
rebreather mask.
there is a non-rebreather.
Oh, was there one?
Uh-huh, but it doesn't say like if I want, like how much percent O2 and all that
Your
stuff.
comments.
Okay, I
Yeah.
did that, I wanted to make sure that
Yes,
that we seen, okay.
Yes. Remember that in the comment section or instruction section, that's part of the order.
Okay,
So don't think that just because you're putting it in that section that it's not an order. That is an order. It goes as an order with that other order along with it. So if you're saying this percentage of O2, or you're saying, this, I want these instructions, or remove during meals, or whatever you're gonna put in there, that is an order. These are all of it. 100% of what you put is an order. Okay, so we got done with that, but we still had some issues, right? We had a morphine. Somebody had called me once, and I'm wondering if we added the non-rebreather. I had a call once that it wasn't there, and they couldn't add it, and we're trying to find something. I don't remember what it was.
it's because it just says non-rebreather, and you're
I kept
like,
thinking it was that, but maybe it was something else. Okay, so right now we're still on order sets. And you guys only have one real order set, for the most part, is hospice. But we do have PCA order sets. We have, I'm trying to think, what other order sets?
So you might have to go to a PCA order set.
Right, if you're gonna order a PCA, I definitely recommend using the PCA order set, because the PCA order set, PCAs are complicated. You know how you have all the, this many minutes, this and that, total of, and, okay, so the PCA order set is pre-built with everything you need in it. All you have to do is change the dosage.
So you would do
amounts,
this
if you
first
need to.
set first, and then you would just
Do everything
ignore
else.
the morphine, and then go to an order set.
You do all your other orders after you do the admission order set.
Including like the PCA, so you would just ignore any of those narcotic meds on the admission set?
Correct,
Okay,
correct. Like if they had a PCA order, you're not gonna be entered in the push orders,
okay,
don't enter them. Don't
Right.
choose them in the order set.
okay.
All right, so we can choose to now do a PCA one if you guys wanna see it, or we can just
Yeah.
start doing one-off orders.
Well, I'd like to at least be able to find the
Okay.
PCA order.
All right, so in that search box, we had typed hospice before, this time just type PCA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And there it is. You just click on it and open it up. And you're gonna do the same thing in this one as you did in the admission order set. Also, you're gonna be maybe wondering, you know, because it's gonna ask you, well, what med and all that are you gonna give? But you'll notice when you select the meds in here, they have everything built in. When you click on them and open them up, everything's built in. That's what's nice about an order set, is that you can create it to be as detailed and specific as you want it to be.
So then you can, for instance, constipation, they're NPO, so you can unclick the
Yes,
dopamine, and you just go through and click or unclick the ones that are
Correct.
appropriate.
correct.
And
Yep.
how do I get back? I now know how to find the PCA orders, but I want to go back to the previous
Up at the
screen.
top, there's cancel.
Respiratory rate.
On the top right-hand side, right up here, if you want to get out of the order set, you can just click cancel instead of save.
I just want to get out of this particular screen here. I typed in here just so I could see where it was. I didn't actually go there. So how do I?
Oh, you don't need to back out of it.
But
If you don't want to look at the PCA order set, just don't click on it, and then you're gonna switch and we're gonna search for stuff
Here,
individually.
I did
Oh, you
something
mean-
and it's not happening.
Okay. I
That's
don't
the
know how to
screen
get
one.
rid of that screen though.
Oh, no, okay, but hold on.
Sure.
I don't know how to.
Why are
get
you
rid of
trying
it.
to get rid of it is my question.
To go back to
To
do
what?
an individual, so we'll do an individual. one.
Right, but not everybody's ready yet, so go ahead and stay on that screen. If you're not gonna do the PCA or open it, then
Just
hold
stay
off
here, okay.
until I get everybody in the same place. Okay.
Multi-tab windows are not allowed. Closing? Oh, I have to do, I'm not this
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so go ahead and go through here and you can put in your PCA order set. When you're done doing your PCA order set, then click save. And it's fine to get practice, that's what this is all about. We want you to have plenty of practice and feel comfortable.
Mine's not
You gotta
happening,
make
so
sure
you have to learn the order sets.
Order set all.
I don't know. I'm going to go back.
It said I had to go back to log in.
That's
This is so easy to do. I think I remember how to navigate to this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every time I do it, it's
Now.
different. Every time I do it, it's different. But it's good to know to do the order set first. and then-
Good practice.
I've done that a couple of times, maybe that was-
Physician, you're gonna put
I have to
test.
do it 20 times and I don't before.
Yeah, so go back home.
Okay, so I must be in the PCA screen.
No, you're logging into CPOE to put in orders. You're picking the doctor, selecting the doctor, confirming the doctor, basically. Telephone, yep.
Okay, so PCA.
You wanna do order sets first.
Oh, okay.
right here. Your drop
Same
down,
thing I did.
order sets, there you go. And now PCA,
Now proceed. Oh, under, okay.
under search.
She did the same thing I did. She go left or right.
All right, once you're done, go ahead and click your save button. Anybody need a few extra minutes? You want a few extra minutes to? Those of you who finished it already, why don't you go all the way back out and back in? Practice that for a second.
Well, that's how I didn't know how to go back out.
So,
Practice it.
Oh,
Gives you all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that what we're gonna do next?
so if you want to get out of CQE
Yeah, how
altogether,
do we do that?
No, I just want to go back to where we add orders.
cancel.
But these are okay. I mean, I put PCA order in.
Yeah, you're not done. You have stuff missing because your save button's not lit up. So if your save button's not lit up, you have stuff missing. Plus, anything on the right-hand side, which is a good example. Let me just go over that really quick while you're in your PCA order set. Okay. Over on the right-hand side, if you have selected something that has information that is required, so for example, you're in an order set and you put in a chest x-ray. Chest x-ray requires that you put in there how the patient will transport for that x-ray. If you have a red stop sign next to any one of these orders, you're gonna have to double click on it, open it up, and put the required field information in. If you don't have everything needed to submit the order set selected, your save button will not be lit up. So it's not gonna let you save if the order set's not ready to save, or if there's something missing that you need to put in. So if you notice that your save button's not right, then you might have a red stop sign that you need to address in here. You just double click and then put in, they transport whatever, there's a field for it for radiology orders and such. Or you need to look on the left-hand side because there's something that's required that you didn't get.
Okay.
Once you have your save button lit up and you're good to go, you can either save, cancel, whatever you want to do. Are you back in?
getting there. Waiting for it.
Almost, okay.
Yeah, I'm back at that screen.
Oh, you want us to exit and come back in?
No, you don't have to. I was just, a few people had caught up. You know, everybody learns computer stuff at different rates. And some people are a little more ahead than others. But before I go to the next step, I want to make sure we're all together. And so what I have people do when they've gone a little faster than maybe some others is go ahead and play around a little bit. So I said, practice going out and going back in, and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's the going out and going back in.
You will be able to practice again before you leave, for sure, multiple times. I'm going to let you be here to just play around. We've got a couple hours. Okay. So, now that we've done order sets, we want to put in a single order by itself. If it's a medicine, I usually switch my search criteria right here in this little drop down to medication. But if it's anything, or if you're going to do a combination of both medication and other orders, like let's say, I don't know, you want to put a certain kind of activity order in, or you want them to have a certain thing for comfort, or you want to, I don't know, whatever it might be, that's not a medication, you can put it to all, and then you can search both medication and other orders. If I know I'm just putting in meds, then I usually switch it to medication. So you can go ahead and click medication, and I want everybody to follow and do this and this, because there's a trick I'm gonna show you to finding what you want. Now that you picked medications, I want everybody to put in lisinopril. Then it'll show lisinopril oral, you'll pick that. And you'll notice that I only have 6 doses on the left, right? And what if your patient takes 60? And you don't see it here. Well, here's the trick. Our system only puts the most common orders in the list. So right up here, you guys all see where I'm at? Right up here, you need to uncheck common orders only. When you uncheck common orders only, now you'll have every possible dose available. Cool trick, right?
What was our nurse's station?
5th floor.
Oh, you
went
went it.
all
I did, it went all the way out,
Tower 2, 5th floor.
but it's not showing up on this one. So,
Shame on you.
I know.
Oh, you went to the wrong facility, you
Ah.
picked Menifee. So
Oh,
I'm gonna do it quick here for you so you don't have to go, maybe it's not
Just
gonna let
kidding.
me, I'm gonna go here.
oh, okay,
No, you picked Menifee.
thank you. We'll do that again.
Well, good thing I had a quick fix for you, so you didn't have to totally go out and log in.
Now we're looking for
Okay, so now I want you to save. Now, the other thing you're gonna notice when you first look at search for order sets or orders, and this is very faint, these little flags right here on the right-hand side. These, if you click them, will save all these orders and order sets in your favorites, so you don't have to search for them every time you come into work. That's kind of cool. It's very faint though. It's so hard to see on the screen. But I'm going to go down and I'm going to find, I don't know, 50. Maybe I want that instead. And I'm going to put the flag. And then I'm just going to click save. But, you know, if I wanted some, you know, to change it, I can double click on it, open it up, change the frequency, change the, you know, you have tons of options. So now I'd like you each to put in at least search for 5 medicines or 4, let's try that, like 4 or 5. Some of you will be faster than others. If you're faster, put in more. If you're slower, just put in 3. Whatever is gonna get you comfortable. Search for 3 medication orders and 3 other types of orders.
How do I get back?
So we have to put a time, a scheduled time, start, it's not just assumed time.
No, you don't have to enter that. If you open something up, the start time is assumed to be now.
So I can just say without
Uh-huh.
having to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just if you wanted to edit it. If you wanted to edit, that's where it says add full edit or edit full order.
But how do I, so this is where I am, I still don't know how to get away from this screen.
Why are you trying to get away from
Well,
this?
so that I could look at all the orders that I have.
We're not done yet. We haven't even gotten to that. We are gonna get to that though, once we're done putting, you haven't put in all your orders yet.
So I just, well, I'm just putting lisinopril, so I just
Yeah.
pick medicines and just keep
Yeah, I
adding.
want you to just pretend that you've got other medicines and other orders that aren't medicines and just put them in. Now, once we're done, then we're gonna go review all the orders we put. And then we're gonna submit them. Right now, we're just saving orders. You're queuing them up, if you will. We're queuing up a list of orders for you to submit.
Like I just tried to do a duo and it's not popping up, so,
A duo neb.
yeah, duo treatment,
Albuterol.
They use
Albuterol,
and
And I would
ibuprofen.
So type albuterol and search for albuterol.
You have to put it in, they don't do it.
I see.
Yeah, and that's why we're here, because there's little things like that that we may not
don't know.
we may not know. And you're gonna run across those too, you know, on the floors or whatever also.
So you have to enter both separately, Marta, is what you're saying.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring you to the next training class. You're gonna be my demo person. Let me show
I'm looking
you.
for, okay, now, and if I want to be a G-tube, I just put that in the comments.
Yes. Yeah, if it's an oral, but it's gonna go through a G-tube, you can put it in the comment instruction section, be a G-tube. You're doing great. You guys.
How come when I go back, it keeps showing the lisinopril even though I'm not?
Oh, because you haven't searched,
Something.
you haven't searched for something different, so
I
it just
did.
keeps whatever's in there.
I did.
Here, let me,
This is 12 more than What the heck? It's got put in albuterol, I thought. No, that's not it.
there you go. There you go.
Something else came out last time, huh?
So when you're short,
This is why I
Yes.
or are you
Yes.
finding one at this point?
I want us to submit all these.
You'll see at the end.
We're almost there, but if you need to use the restroom.
Yeah.
There is a restroom by the elevators. The code, now, somebody put a female sign next to it, so I don't know if the men's has a different
There's no
code.
code for the names, but
There's no code for the men's? Oh, there you go.
Well,
So
they don't
251
care.
anyway.
No one's gonna break it.
Nobody wants to hurt you guys in the
It's the
back.
women that they get. Oh, that's funny.
And if you guys, if anybody needs to get up, go ahead and get up, and then you can always, it'll time out your screen, but when you come back, it'll just ask for your password, and it'll bring you right back to where you were. And as soon as we submit some orders, then we'll take a break. We'll give a 15-minute.
oh, my notes, that's right.
And we also have some snack machines, and just down this way down the hall, on the left-hand side, there's a break room that has snack machines, drink machines, water, if you need anything to eat or drink, snack or drink.
Well, I gave all my change last night. I went to get something to eat and they were begging for change, so I emptied out my change purse and now I don't have anything.
Oh, no. I have some ones, a couple
No,
ones
that's
if you need
okay.
it. And also, and
were
I'm
drinking
I'm
fountain,
embarrassed to say it, but I did overcook and burn my oatmeal banana cookies that I made after work last night. But if anybody wants them, if you don't mind them a little extra brown on the bottom, I'm happy to share. You know, it's hard because there you are working, and then I had to stop at the store, and then I had to stop at another store to pick up something. And then you get home, and then I'm throwing in a load of laundry, and then I'm baking cookies. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I'm just, and then I have 3 dogs and needed to walk them, and a husband too, that, you know, causes a lot of attention grabbing. And so, anyway, it was easy to burn these cookies. And I actually had them in there for less time than what it told me. And usually that's where I got in trouble, because my oven, typically, I'll bake stuff and I have to leave it in there longer than what it says. And so these suckers were fried. I went and checked on them like a minute before, and they were already burned before the timer went off.
You know,
all of a sudden, while I was doing medication orders, all the other ones just disappeared from the screen.
Yeah, your orders are gone. Once you save them, they go
Yeah,
to
you'll
what
see
we
it.
call the order queue.
Yeah, but, oh.
Yeah, they
It
go to
doesn't-
an order
It doesn't
queue.
even show anything. Like, you know how we kept, I were adding stuff and.
That's perfect.
Oh,
Just like it's supposed to be.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, once you save, okay, so all you're doing right now is you're just saving up. You're queuing up a bunch of orders to submit. We
Okay.
haven't actually submitted any yet. We
Okay.
saved them, but we didn't submit them.
All right.
Because you all know that there's that read back verify that you have to do.
Yeah.
There's, you know, there's rules. Now, for training, it's taking us a really long time. When you do this, I mean, I could have put probably most of these, everything that we did, probably less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is just training. But once you get accustomed, you'll be fine. All right, so is everybody back to this screen? Whether yours is blank or not, you should be here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna submit the ones that we put in so far. So you're gonna click on order queue. Order queue, right up here. You guys see where I'm wiggling? Order queue, click on order queue. And you're gonna see every order known to man on this patient, because we all have test patients with a whole bunch of stuff. The next thing you're gonna do is go down just underneath that where it says submit. You see that on my screen, where my mouse is over on the left, submit. Everybody click on submit. Now you are going to see just the orders that you have saved. Up at the top of that, you're going to notice that there is a comment up here. It's kind of a disclaimer. It says, check the box next to the orders that were read back and verified for the corresponding verifying physician. When you place a checkbox next to each one, this is your read back verify required. That's a regulatory requirement, read back verify. So to do that, you're just going to click on your button next to each one of these orders.
And it's okay if you don't check, like I somehow ended up with 3 different Lisinopril.
Yes, yes. If you don't check it, at the end it's going to ask you, do you want to save these or not? Just say no, delete them, and you'll be fine. Once you're done clicking all your boxes, you're going to hit submit in the bottom left corner. And then this is the part that's kind of sad about being in the test environment. Your regular hospice patients, after you submit orders, remember you didn't have any orders in there before. But our nice test patients in here have so much stuff in the system that you're gonna, right, for training, you're gonna have to address a ton of alerts. So as soon as you final submit them, go ahead and address your alerts. You're gonna have to pick a reason. What's that?
Did you say click preview and then submit?
No,
Oh,
just
just
submit.
submit.
I mean, you can preview if you want to, but you just looked at them all.
So, just on the required alert actions, we're just going to click what?
Well, most of the time, okay,
Since
so
this is
for
a training
example, you're gonna get an alert if your patient has an allergy to the medication. You're gonna get alert if there are interactions between medications.
Right.
You're going to get an alert if there's a diagnosis that is contraindicated for this particular medication that you ordered. You're going to get an alert if there's a duplicate order of any kind. You're going to get, various types of alerts popping up. Now, in your brand new hospice admission patient, you're not gonna have all, like in test, and these test patients have been in here for years. Nurses for the last 2 years have been putting allergies and putting meds and, all kinds of stuff in here. So you're gonna have a lot of alerts right now.
So like
just,
the warning has been read and acknowledged is perfectly fine for the training mode to check.
yeah, you can pick anything you want. In reality, it's either MD order, benefit outweighs risks, or you can decide to
Oh, I
not
see.
override the alert and then modify or discontinue that order.
Okay,
So there's a button next to it that says discontinue or leave unsubmitted.
uh-huh.
These two here, you can discontinue that order. If you see that the patient has an allergy,
Or
and yes, it's
override.
gonna send them in anaphylactic shock and kill them,
Yeah.
you're gonna go ahead and just hit discontinue that
Right.
order. But if you're looking at it and it's like, really, I'm getting a warning for this, like sometimes for certain pain meds, you're gonna get all kinds of stuff, because it's a narcotic, because it's this, and your risks.
So we just hit the
Yeah.
reason and then override. yeah.
Reason and then override, and then go down. So you're probably gonna have a lot of these. Each of you is gonna have something different, because you each have a different patient. But it gives you lots of practice. You won't forget how to override. That's for sure.
This is less severe, I'm getting.
Okay. And then, once you've done all your alerts, another screen will temporarily pop up. You don't need to click anything, and then voila, you're done. You've just submitted, done all of your admission orders.
What does the little yellow triangle mean?
And then do you have to go to a care plan and a progress note?
We're not gonna focus on that at all today, because it is too much for you guys to remember when you're not here that often. And that's why today's class, we're focusing on just entering orders, and then we're gonna put notes. And then we're gonna look at some patient history and things like that.
Okay, so we're not expected to do a care plan then?
Pardon?
Well, we do all that on
What?
admissions, put in the care plan and do.
If you would like to, so far it has been too much for everybody.
Yeah, so we're not expected
So
to
we
do
don't
it in
have
your
to.
system?
You don't have to, our staff have to for sure.
Okay.
I would like for you to be able to. I think it's a good thing, and if we have time, I
It
can
would
show
be
you.
nice, we don't have a care plan, but it would be nice, I know we've been putting in, the hospital
Hospital,
learning
yeah,
thing. But it would
hospitalized.
be nice if there was one for hospice,
Yeah.
a hospital, you know what I mean?
Right,
And you're right, I have no idea how to even get there.
right, so we're not, don't worry about that today.
Okay.
And then when you're totally out and you're back to the screen, to get all the way out, you're gonna click on your black X. And then we're gonna take a 15-minute break. And you're gonna click log out. You may or may not be timed out at clinical care station. If you were timed out, it's gonna look like this, and you can just put your password in, or you can just close and log out of that as well. I would say log out, and when we come back from break, you can start from the very beginning to get back in.
Where's the login? Where's your-
You just click the black X. Oh, on here, it's yellow arrow and exit out the door.
Where's the login? Oh, they're closed. Ah.
And then exit out the door.
Yes.
Is 15 minutes good?
Sure.
Okay. And then just remember the code for the women's restroom is 251.
Or you can go next door, there's no code at all.
Totally forgot.
That's okay. So what we've done, just for camera purposes, is we were selecting our patient, and we want to view the history on the patient. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the icon that has the black and white face. This is called patient profile. This area of the system carries with the patient from visit to visit to visit to visit. Because if they had the allergy before, they probably still have the allergy. So the in history will carry forward. Yes.
So you know how this shows when you just hover over the name?
Yes.
Are you able to access it from here?
Yes, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
Stay with You're good.
I am,
You're good.
I'm just
Okay.
so doing it, but I just had that question.
When a patient is not discharged, but when their acute care chart is
That will be
closed
there.
down, it all goes forward, everything except for the meds, correct?
Oh, no, meds do as well. Whatever they were on before, whatever they're being discharged with, becomes their new home med list in here. Now, 2 people have not been here before. So, the first time you go in to patient profile, the first time only, and you only have to do this once. You're gonna have to do it when you get to live as well, your first time in patient profile. The rest of the class has done it except for you 2. But in the top left corner of your screen, there's little teeny tiny arrows next to that blank face person picture. Do you see it? Hover over that. Hover over it, and I want you to pick check all in 3 columns. You're going to make 2 clicks. Check all in 3 columns. So check all. I know it's a little sensitive. And then 3 columns. 3 columns. There you go. You might get something like yours says height, weight, is required. You probably want to put it, but go ahead. Check all. Check all and 3 columns. There we go. All right. That makes your view much nicer, as you can see. You only have to do it once on any patient, doesn't matter which patient, but when you get to the hospital and you're signed into live, you're logged into live, you want to do that one time. And then it works for all the patients after that forever and ever and ever. You never have to do it again. Just any patient, one patient. Once you do it, you're set up for life for all patients. Okay. So, we're only going to point out a couple things on this screen. Most of it is just the fact that this is their medical history. This is what's been entered so far. I take an opportunity to review it, go over it, make sure that it's accurate. First time that you're in on that particular patient you're seeing. If it looks good, there's a big V up at the top, or there's a V next to each one of these. You can click on that and verify the information if you want to say, hey, I looked at it and I'm verifying this is accurate. Sometimes you may have a patient that you're not able to do that because of their status. You may or may not have family there to verify it or anything like that. But this will help give you an idea of what has been entered on the patient. Also, at the very top here, there's a tiny, teeny little arrow. If you come in here and you open that up, if this is a new admission, right, your new hospice admission, you would have been prompted initially when you came in here to enter a height and weight, an admission height and weight. You want to make sure that the admission height and weight is present. If it is not present, your orders for any medications will not go through. So you always want to make sure you have that height and weight. Now Tom here, his patient doesn't, he's entering it now, good job.
Where did you enter that?
If you look at his screen, had a pop-up. Tom had a pop-up that came up when he clicked on profile. Oh, you ignored it too?
Yes.
Right up at the top where I'm at, the little yellow, little black arrow.
Oh, that one.
Yep.
There we go.
And then just do the pencil right here. And now enter a height and weight. So if a new admission weight or height and weight is needed, you just click on the pencil here next to the height and weight, and then it opens up the box to put a height and weight.
Okay, so if we wanted to edit on this, for example, on this sample patient, I have both a do not resuscitate and a full code. So if I want to remove the full code,
Well, okay, that's not gonna happen in real life. These test patients have all kinds of crazy stuff on them. That's what I was saying. You're gonna see a bunch of crazy stuff. In real life, you're not gonna have that, and in real life, you cannot put more than one type of code status.
so it would change, like we had okay.
Yeah.
So we actually had we have a patient here that went from a DNR to a full code yesterday. It will automatically change the system.
What you would need to do in that case is you would discontinue the old order and put in the new one.
And then this updates automatically.
Right. The screen will update automatically. Some other helpful information in here. You can close that little arrow now.
So we go through and verify each one, with the V on each one, or no?
If you click the V up at the very top left corner, it verifies the whole screen.
Ah.
Okay.
That way you don't have to do each one individually. But sometimes you like for example, if you don't want to verify the whole thing, you just want to say, I'm checking allergies, I'm checking this, then you can click them individually for just the ones you're doing. If you're doing the entire screen, then you can verify all up at the top.
Okay, another question on the meds. So this is actually a history of the meds from the time.
Right, whatever they were discharged on.
So when they transition from acute care to hospice, this will still be there and will be automatically updated with the meds that you put in
Right,
for hospice?
during the stay, anything that's added during that stay will add here. Any new orders that you're adding will pile on and pile on and pile on and pile on until they're ready to be discharged.
But within
But in
the-
most cases, for your patients, they may or may not be going home, they might. So if, let's say they're gonna go home on hospice, then the doctor does medication reconciliation, and then the whatever's in here becomes the new home med list.
But within the active chart, will these meds will only be, the meds that they were on before they came in hospice will only be here? In other
Correct.
words, they're not, okay, good.
These are the home meds, these
Okay.
are the meds, and it's, I know it gets a little confusing because the thing says home meds, but it was
Yeah.
whatever they were discharged on last. So if they were in an acute care setting and they discharged them and they were on an IV and they had all that stuff, that's all gonna be sitting here. Whatever they left on from that prior visit is gonna be sitting here as a home
That
medication.
one, but okay.
That helps, because when they send the patient home, I'm at the home and I'm at the other end. And I see this thing that says home meds, and I see another thing that's meds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's what? What are they supposed to be?
Right. That's where
Right.
it's
Confusing.
see the
Yeah.
confusion.
It is.
But when we hit list
Okay.
You just, once you've accepted, done your height and weight, you say, okay, but then it does, gives you this prompt, it's already been done, and then
Yeah,
it
but then
can't,
when you pull
it
on
won't
the
go
list,
away.
it shows it up. Shows it on the list. It's not
Yeah,
written
just
in
go
once.
ahead and cancel.
Oh,
You might have entered twice.
okay, oh, no,
Let's see.
where are we? It's not there.
Or close it and go back in, just close it. Let's go back in. No, okay, go ahead and click on it. Just enter height and weight. Okay. You're about to create a height and weight, yes, there you go.
and
And then,
then,
okay.
I do too.
and then it wouldn't let me,
You're good.
I said, let me show you guys what you're on here at home.
make this go away.
I think it's just. We're having some issues with there it is. I
Okay.
just had to go back out.
Okay. He's having the same trouble.
Well, Diane, say error, and say, but, because I put it in
Okay,
twice.
just, I want you to cancel everything. Just close. Okay, so that's fine. This is the admission weight and today is the current. That's the current, because you put the
It's the same
admission.
day.
Well, right, because that's right now, you're admitting the
So
patient.
you-
Your admission weight is today's weight.
You must load a whole bunch of food on
Yeah, so you put in an additional weight for today.
it. But let's say I
You
did
can
it in
wait.
error, how do I get rid of it? That's what I was trying to do.
Okay, to get rid of something, we have to go into counter management, we got a whole big old thing.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, don't worry about it for right now. But it is possible to do an admission weight, and then the same day weigh them again, and they weigh 5 pounds less or whatever, especially dialysis or something
Yeah.
like that. And they pull fluid off, and now you've got a second lower weight for the day. Generally, you only put in one admission weight and you're done. Put it in and say, okay, get
What
out.
was weird though, is when you put it in, you hit say, then it's blank.
Yes.
And
We're-
then that's why I did another one,
Right,
because I thought, well, it didn't take the first one.
yeah. We're in a test environment.
That's okay.
And we're on a 12.1.4 version. This particular version is having some issues with height and weight. We wanted to put this particular part of, or upgrade our live environment back in December. Because anytime you upgrade to a new version of something, you test it and test it and test it and test it. You find all the bugs, all the issues, and then you report them, and then the company sends out fixes, and then you gotta apply fixes, and then some things they won't supply fixes for, those kind of things. So we have a few of those that we've been working on, hence why we are at the end of March and we still have not upgraded our live environment to 12.1.4. Our live environment is on 12.1.2. So remember I was telling you it's gonna be different depending on where you are. So even when you log into live, it's not gonna say 12.1.4, it's gonna say 12.1.2. Because that's the version we're on in live. But anyway, there's some things like that, but we do not like to have those things in our live environment when you get something. And what Tom's question was, is he was putting in the admission height and weight, he was saying okay, and then it showed blank. If you go back out and go all the way back in, then it shows. And so he was wondering, why is it not showing? I put it in, and then he tried to put it in again, and then when he put it in again, it put in a current weight for today, which was an additional weight to the one he already put in, and so you end up, what am I doing wrong, and all of that good stuff. But you didn't do anything wrong, you were right on track. It's just that if we decide, let's say, to go into live, then I have to send notice out to all of my nursing staff and everything everywhere throughout the hospital, and that says, if you're gonna put an admission height and weight, you may have to go all the way back out and back in order to see it. All the fun that comes with the clinical informatics and computers. But that's a fluke that we're having. All right, so we should all be good. You're just viewing kind of what the history is on the patient. Now, I don't want to, because of, we have some things. So let's try this. If you have a problem with some of the information in here, or you need something added, you do have the ability to add it yourself. However, I think for training purposes today, I'm going to ask you to have a nurse add that information for you. Somebody on the floor who's assigned to that patient, because there's some very specific key training, and usually for all of the areas here, that training takes an additional hour. And I think that because we covered a lot of that in our last class, And it was just too much information for everyone, and you're not here that often. I don't want to focus on you making all those entries yourself. So we're going to pass the entry part, but I want you to be able to view the history on your patient. And also, again, if you don't have a height and weight, that's the only thing that's really important, because you won't be able to put your meds, your admission orders in. So we've done a bunch of orders, but usually, typically, you're going to come in here first, right? You're going to go to patient profile first, the black and white face. You're going to look at the patient history, make sure they have a height and weight. We've just done that. So you can use your yellow arrow at the top part of your screen, your yellow arrow, to get back to this main census
Oh, you
screen.
mean
The close.
To close it, yes.
Oh,
To
I'm
close
thinking
it,
closing everything.
do not use the red X to close. You want to use the yellow arrow. And to finally get out, we're not going to do that this moment, but you always exit out the door at the top left. Yellow arrow until you can't yellow arrow, and then you can exit out the door to get out of the application altogether.
Will you be covering how to access like a history and physical and consultation, reports, that kind of thing?
Labs, results, because we
Yeah,
know
like
that
labs.
Okay.
big time, yeah.
Okay, so on this screen, you're going to notice some columns here with all these colored bubbles, yes? Colored bubbles. At the top of those columns are little initials. AA, CP, INT, RX, FS, NR, MR, DOC, DOC, right? OM work queue, RX work queue, acknowledgement work queue. So we're going to go into a couple of these. So the first one is the admission assessment. You are not going to be doing the admission assessment. You will not click on that. CP stands for care plans. If you're admitting a new patient, they will not have a care plan. You can talk to the nurse about entering a care plan and work with the nurse who's assigned to the patient. INT, this is a list of interventions that are due on the patient. So if you put an order in to have a dressing changed every 8 hours, this is where the nurse will see that the dressing is due every 8 hours and when it is due. All of the orders that are entered go to this location for the nurse to help plan her day. You do not need to worry about that either. The next column is RX. This is the column that launches to the MAR. If you want to launch to the MAR, you can do so now by double-clicking on the colored bubble in that column.
Should we do that now then?
Yep, go ahead. Give it a moment and it will load the actual MAR. This allows you to see what is ordered on the patient, what is due, and what has been given or not given. Up in the top left-hand side, way up high, I'm gonna come in front of the camera here, is a little, looks like a star icon. That is your legend. If you click on the legend, it will tell you what all the symbols mean on the MAR. So if a nurse has already given the medication will have a little pill symbol, meaning it's already been given. There's an NG, a red NG, that means not given. So this is how, when you're looking at this, because in a live patient, by this time in the morning, they've already received a bunch of stuff, right?
Mhm.
But maybe the nurse couldn't give something or whatever, for whatever reason.
These medications that are on this are not ones that I entered.
No, they're not. This is a test environment. We've submitted orders, but pharmacy hasn't processed them yet, so you're not seeing them on the MAR. And we're in test. We don't have a pharmacist in our
Okay,
test
so these are
environment.
just- Okay, because
Yeah.
none of these are.
We'll
were on the
pretend that
patient
these
I
are the
did.
ones you put in for test, for training purposes. So, you're gonna see a lot of stuff in here that's not anything to do with what you normally have. But I have fake meds that were put in on all these training patients so we can train people to administer them.
It does show up in CPOE
in CPO?
where you entered the orders?
Mhm.
Yes, you entered them. But for meds, they're not here yet. All right, so IV, you have an IV tab, a PRN tab. There's a respiratory tab, but if I don't have any respiratory meds, it's grayed out. So most of yours are grayed out because you don't have respiratory meds. But that's basically how to view. You'll also notice up at the top left-hand corner is a small date field. If you want to look at what they got yesterday or whatever, you can click on the arrows to go backward. You can go back a day.
So I can look at the PRNs for the day before and
Yes.
see, so I click on PRN and then,
Then use your arrow to go left or right.
I clicked on the CPOE like Tom was saying, so I could see that. Now, I don't know how to go back. I don't have that.
Click on the other tab.
Closed.
You clicked on a CPOE tab.
Yes.
That's the
And-
tab that your orders are sitting in waiting for a
Yes.
pharmacist.
And I'm
Oh,
here.
you actually clicked on CPOE
Yes,
to
I
put
did.
in orders.
Yeah,
Use
but-
your black X.
Okay,
to
so
get
that's
out.
where it's confusing, the black X.
Yeah, Tom was talking about a CPOE tab
Oh.
in the MAR itself.
This.
Yeah, go ahead and get yourself out of there.
So what was your one?
Log out.
Not all
Log
the
out.
orders.
Yeah, CPOE.
So what is that showing right here?
There you go.
I see, okay.
So Tom was referring to the CPOE tab here.
I see. Oh, and I clicked up on the top.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, you're good. No, it's a good question. It's a tab on the MAR, and that's what we're looking at. And what Tom's talking about is the CPOE tab
I
right here.
see.
This is the tab where you can see what CPOE orders have been put in and waiting for a pharmacist to process.
Okay.
But they're not available for you to administer. Okay. All right, any questions on viewing the MAR?
This means, how do I, well, I don't know how to see what was given, I don't understand how to do that.
Okay, we're in a test environment and nobody's gotten any given yet.
Oh, so, okay,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
why it didn't.
So that's why. So that's why I was just going over the legend to show you what symbols will show
Okay,
when somebody documents on the MAR.
okay.
Now, I thought I heard you say that when it is given, you'll see a pill,
Mm-hmm.
but on the legend, I'm either not, I don't see it on the legend, where it says, I don't see anything that says given.
No, it doesn't have a given one, but that's what will show. It'll be a pill.
Okay.
so like that blue and red and yellow pill?
This is medication.
Yeah, there's that pill, but that just indicates medication. You see it on the screen already on the left-hand side.
Right.
But this right here, this
will
due time will turn into a pill.
Oh, okay, I was looking on the left-hand side, seeing that. pill,
Yeah.
and-
So like right here, I've got a PRN that
Right.
was in, but here on my scheduled tab, if this had been administered at 9 o'clock, it'll have a little pill.
Okay, that's.
And we don't
these will.
have to enter times, that's something that it's automatically in the system or the floor nurses or the
Pharmacist times out the
pharmacy
meds
does
for when they're due.
it. Okay.
All right, so that's viewing meds. Any other questions? All right, go ahead and use your yellow arrow, and then go out the door to get back to your main census screen. All right, the next column is FS. These are flow sheets. If you want to see what vital signs have been entered, what INOs have been entered, you can click on the bubble where it says flow sheet FS. Click on that. And then you should have some entries on your patients. Go ahead and click on the plus sign to open up whatever's been put in.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got
Which is that this is here.
FS for flow sheets.
Oh,
Click on the FS bubble in the column that stands for flow sheet. And that will bring you to the flow sheets. So if your patient has had, 20 entries, you'll see all 20 of them sitting in here with the date and time up at the top of the column of when it was done.
Calculates the BMI.
Not doing
It
much.
does calculate the BMI for you.
Mine barely got vital signs done.
You got more than I
Yeah, the BMI shows for the admission rate, I think. I don't know if it shows on every week.
I've just worked with a system for like the past 3 years that didn't calculate, and it was just ridiculous because it's a computer.
but- Right, it'd be so easy, yeah. I know, the small things in life, right?
It is. Made me happy.
Any questions on viewing vital signs and INOs? All right, yellow arrow. And moving over to NR, this is new results. This is where all your lab and radiology results will show.
It's not like lab.
Now, for training purposes, because there's a bunch of gunk in here, if you scroll way down with your scroll bar to stuff that has like little symbols like yellow and cameras, you see how mine now has stuff way over on the left-hand side? Scroll way down on your patient until you have stuff way over on the left-hand side. And these are actual results, because all of these test patients were actually live patients at one point in time.
What did you click on to get there?
New results column,
Oh, in R,
NR.
My goodness.
So if you double click on any of those ones down, way down, that have a symbol, those are actually real. So I just double clicked on my CBC and voila. You also, if you click on radiology, things like that, you'll get the actual report.
so, I'm not seeing the labs at all. I guess that's because it's training.
Did you go way down?
Well, I'm going.
Take your scroll bar, go way down. Now, there, past my bridge. See where I said the symbols?
Yes.
Yeah. Now go ahead and click on a lab there that has more stuff in it, or radiology.
So I clicked on a radiology one. I clicked on like the little camera,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's nothing there.
It may not have anything, because
Oh.
again, the test, it's hard for me to
Sure.
tell. Yeah.
Okay. Does the x-ray show up or just the?
No,
report?
it'll just have the report.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
don't see an arrow, so why?
Then you would do the red X, yes. Yeah, there are some things, like in some of these reports, you don't have a yellow arrow really that works to close these, so some of these, like when you open a report, you have to use the red X on the report to close. Don't use the one way up at the top, just the one that's here for the report.
Now, what do these different symbols mean?
What symbols?
Well, you've got some that are little dots and some that are caution signs and some that are cameras and.
Those are all sent over from the lab system. Camera means that there was an image associated with it.
Okay.
Yellow means that there's a result back on it that you need to pay attention to. Red indicates typically critical. They'll have a symbol like L or H, low
This
and
is an
high.
x-ray that I just,
Uh-huh.
okay. So
Yeah,
go on
so
and
use that.
Use
Was
that
it
one.
in R that we checked on to get to this all?
Uh-huh.
It was in R.
And R. There you go. New results.
Yeah.
new results, okay.
Can we print these reports?
You can. Right in the top left corner is a printer icon. Don't do it right now, please.
Oh,
because
no,
we're in
no,
training class.
but I mean, if we're at the hospital.
Yeah, right up at the top left, you see it?
We can, right.
To the left
Okay.
of the yellow arrow,
Oh, yeah.
there's a printer icon, you can
Never
print
figured
that.
out how to even do it.
Yeah, if you need to take it back to your office,
Do we have to then,
I mean,
the
not for
computer
the
that we're
patient
at,
record.
then have to sign on to a printer and do all that stuff?
No, the computers at the nursing stations and all the wows, the carts, the computers on wheels, all of those are connected to print at the nursing station printer that you're at.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, so we
As
don't
long as
have
you're
to
on that
find
unit.
one.
Right, as
Okay.
long as you're on that unit.
Okay.
Now on the, like the x-ray report, I don't see a printer button.
Some things you may not. But you don't see it at the top left.
So we'll have to go to medical records and call medical records and have them.
Radiology can usually take care of it for you. Let me see. Edit mode or something. I don't know, go down, double click just on the report.
Okay, no results available, I'm sorry.
Go to file. And you print like a normal thing. And then you do your print, just like you would other documents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't have a printer icon, like one of these radiology reports, it's not in the top left. You just go to file like you would any other document and then print. So that's viewing results. With the yellow arrow, back out of there. MR, just ignore. It just shows you the status of whether or not the patient had a medication reconciliation or not on admission. You don't need to worry about that. The doc column is the other one. So the doc column is where you're going to see all of your physician documentation. Your documentation. So you just click in there, in the bubble, and all the documents that have been done on your patient will view. Again, the ones that are, if you have, if you want to look at maybe some that a real doctor did, go down until you see real doctor names instead of fake doctor names. Because the rest of them are all say test or whatever. Go down till you see some real doctors in there and click on those and open them up, and those are actual notes done by our physicians. You'll see H&Ps, progress notes, consult notes, emergency record notes.
Do they dictate and then somebody in transcription
No, they
enters? do
enter
it
this
themselves?
directly on their own. They do have a Dragon dictation, so certain physicians use Dragon to talk into the computer. Others hand type it. However, we do have dictation as well. So, if you're looking for physician documentation, there is a potential that some of our physicians have dictated in that document is sitting in their paper chart.
Like Dr. Gupta and Dr. Newell write stuff in the chart.
Right. So some doctors use this, some use a combination, some just use the dictated paper, old paper. We have not mandated that they use our system for physician documentation. However, our physicians are mandated to put all of their orders in CPOE.
Now, is this one, if we open, that we should use the red X? I don't see any other way of that.
Exactly. This is
The one at the top.
right. And all you have to do is double click on a note and there
And
it
then I get
is.
a list of meds and last vital signs. Is
You
that-
sure do. All that stuff in patient profile that was entered, all the history that was put in, all the allergies that
Because
were.
it just keeps following. And then all I see is the assessment plan. I don't even see any of his notes in here.
Well, he might not have finished them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, we
There's
one
so many
day
times.
upgraded, and then we made a copy of our live environment and put it in our test environment, so whatever was being done or at that moment in time when we copied is all that there was.
Okay.
I just know that, you know, earlier we had some stuff that was already in. But like in mine, there's a bunch of stuff typed. But again, we're in test.
Good thing. Lucille Oliphant in Lucille Train's chart.
What's
I said I have Lucille Oliphant's H&P in Lucille Train's chart.
You probably have all kinds of stuff in this environment. That's what.
As long as it's not me.
Yeah. All right, when you're done with this, go ahead and close out. The next thing I'm going to show you is just making a progress note. And then we're going to go back with orders and play around with that again. So, up at the very top, there's an icon that looks like a pencil. That's your progress note. Come in here, click on it, and type away.
I've done that, and then I'm like, now how do I go back and see what I wrote? Or see what anybody else wrote, like case management or other nurses or.
So in here, you probably want to, because right now it's on the Department of Nursing, which that's what you are, nursing. It's going to file under nursing. I would recommend, because you know, or somebody looking at the chart may not know who you are. You may want to type in here, you know, hospice
I do that.
up
Put
at the
Arbor
beginning.
Hospice, and then
So we can change that and type just whatever we want of it.
No, in the document, when
Oh,
you
in the
start
itself.
the document, you start typing. You probably want to.
So
I
will
did
the
that.
doctors look at this?
Yes,
They will.
yeah, all of our staff do.
Do they have to go search for it?
The physicians do, of course, they have to search for it. I mean, if there's 10 disciplines seeing the patient, they're gonna have to look for what they want to look at. They have a spot in their application, they have a totally different application. All of this information goes to their application, and they can choose, I wanna look at progress notes, I wanna look at admission assessment, I wanna look at vitals, I wanna look
So
at,
there-
and that's how they choose, and then they go and
There
interview.
won't be anything that says hospice, they'll have to go to nursing.
It
to
would
see
go,
what
they
we
would
want.
go to nursing, right, so your note will be in with any other nursing notes. Now, majority of the nurses on the floors do not make progress notes. So it's not like they're gonna have to filter through a bunch of progress notes to find yours. I ask all of nursing, when they're doing documentation, to document in their specific application under the specific body system and tabs for all their notes. Because they can make 100 notes in one respiratory assessment if they want. So there's no reason for them to have to come out of that and document a progress note where it's filing all by itself over here. But for you all, that's a perfect place. Because you're not gonna file it under a body system.
Exactly.
You're not gonna file your note, you know, it's just kind of a general note.
Okay, so we're putting the date, Arbor Hospice.
You don't need to put a date and time, it
No date.
electronically captures the current date and
Oh,
time that you're
okay.
documenting. You just come
I just
in,
put Arbor Hospice at the top and then start writing.
And start writing, and then our name at the bottom.
No.
no, it electronically signs your name because you logged in with your password.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just say Arbor
Magic.
Hospice, you know, saw patient, da-da-da, you know, family here, whatever it is that you wanna write, tolerating this well, not tolerating this well, increasing,
Change,
you know,
decrease.
change this, yeah.
Okay, do admit
And then you yellow arrow to save.
Now, if I want to view the nurse's documentation, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so anybody else have questions on the progress notes? Easy? Pretty easy? Okay. All right, so let's yellow arrow out of here. Back to your screen. There is, up at the top, 2 icons. To the right of the pencil looks like a pair of eyeglasses. Is inquiry. Inquiry is how you inquire about the other notes that have been written. You'll notice some fields you can search. So assessment type, Do you want to look at admission assessment, daily assessments? Do you want to go down and look at progress notes? You can click on progress. And then over on the right hand side, you click retrieve. And any progress notes that have been written will show. Now, I didn't make any progress notes, plus probably nobody's made them.
And I see you can even
But
change
some of you
the
might.
dates. I see you can even change the dates.
You can
Yeah,
change the
yeah.
date range that you're searching. You
Yeah, that's
can
nice.
go to a specific day.
Yeah, excellent.
And I can look at,
Whatever you want.
so it's assessment, I would do like at the daily rate.
Yeah, so if it's a nursing assessment, you're gonna go to the daily, then you can go to a specific tab that they documented on. Say I just wanna see respiratory. I can just click on respiratory in the tab underneath and I can see, any respiratory assessments that have been documented. I can go to the admission assessment, go to the tab cardiovascular and see what their cardiovascular was on
Okay.
admission.
I missed that. Oh, go here daily first and then.
Daily first and then a specific tab.
there
If
go.
you want to be very detailed at what you're
And of course
looking
here
for.
there's nothing.
I
that is-
can't, nothing comes up when I put
We're in
tab.
test, so you may not.
Oh, okay.
But,
But
you're
normally
saying
we
you're-
would have the departments there. Okay.
No. What are you
Okay.
picking?
Well, I just was gonna look at
Daily?
daily, but
And
there
then
was
go to
no.
your tab. Okay,
That's what I
nobody's
meant.
documented anything.
Okay,
It's all been wiped out.
okay.
What I do for our new hire training, every 2 weeks, I go in and manually wipe out all the documentation
Okay.
that's been done so that it's not bogging down the database, and then we train new people every time. So you may or may not, again, in our training class, have anything in here. On your actual hospice patient, you will only have in there what somebody's documented. If they haven't documented it, it won't be there. But that's how to view other documentation. Any questions on that? Okay, you can yellow arrow. And I'd like to open up the rest of the time unless you have other questions to, well, let's do this. We put in orders, right? Where did the orders go?
Good question.
That's a big question.
CPOE,
Well, you put them in
That's where you put them.
CPOE, but after you put them in CPOE, they come right here in the acknowledgement column. The acknowledgement column is where nurses go to sign off the orders, that they saw them. So you can sign them off or the nurse can sign them off. Sometimes I like to let a nurse sign them
I've
off.
never seen it.
Well, I want them to read them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the hospice nurse put in these orders,
so
but
we-
that's where they go. So if you click here on acknowledgement column, you'll see all those orders you put in.
Okay, and then we don't acknowledge, somebody on the floor will
You have to do a new
acknowledge.
admission, right, on their,
Well,
how do they do that? The nurse, like when we readmit the patient, do they have to do a full-on new admission thing on
they
that
usually
patient?
will do a full admission
Yeah.
assessment and everything. But
So then they'll acknowledge the orders
they'll
then.
acknowledge the orders, they're sitting in the queue.
Yeah.
You certainly, if you're gonna be following all of them out and you just wanna sign them off, just sign them, you can sign them off.
Sign them off by clicking acknowledge,
Well,
No, it opens this up and
you
then-
can do select all,
okay?
or you can individually select orders. And a couple of mine were order sets, so I've got a bunch of orders inside here that I'd have to open up with that plus sign. But this is where they go to sign off orders, so that's lesson one. I just wanna show you where they go. First, they go here for somebody to sign them off.
But what do we, as a, hospice nurse coming in, do we written the orders? Do we need to come here
You
and
don't
do
have
something
to.
on
You
this?
don't have to.
But should we be?
Okay, here's the thing.
I know, I.
Think about the patient. Think about what needs to happen. Somebody needs to sign these off, yes?
It
all
seems
new
like
orders.
We want them to do that.
Right, so you wanna make sure that the nurse knows you have put new admission orders in on this patient. Now, the nurses typically know because they can see that their bubble's yellow,
So they need to check.
right, on that other screen, the yellow bubble,
Mhm.
that, where you
It
double
wouldn't
click
be
to get in
yellow
here.
if it were not.
No, if there weren't new orders, it would just be white.
I see.
But they know when it turns yellow, they've got new orders, and they know when it's red, they've got stat orders.
And that
So
yellow-
that's, they look at that and they'll go in and they'll open this up, they'll review the orders and sign them off.
But we will, we as hospice nurses coming in will have already gone through a process of reviewing all of the orders anyway, so there's not any need
You
for us
entered
on
them.
initial.
Entered them.
Right,
You entered them.
right.
There's more to entering, just like a physician. If a doctor handwrites it, in the handwritten world, you still have to take that mid, make sure it was on the MAR, right? You had to take that lab order and make sure lab got a slip.
Right.
You had to take, right, you had to verify all that. This is kind of what this is doing. But in the electronic world, all of those things went automatically. The meds automatically went to
Mhm.
pharmacy, they
Mhm.
automatically went to lab.
Mhm.
The nurse is just reviewing these and saying, okay, I know everything that got entered, I see it. Do I have anything that I need to take care of right away? And she's just acknowledging that she has reviewed all of them.
Right. So we don't,
You don't have to
coming
do
in,
it.
we don't really need to go
You don't
here.
have to.
Okay.
You
That's
don't
what I
have
need
to. I'm gonna just say you don't have to. However, me as a nurse, okay, I might put in orders. I've worked as a house supervisor at Sharp, I've worked as a charge nurse, I've worked as, all of those things, right, over the years. And I used to take orders on patients that weren't my patients, right? I'd get on the phone with the doctor, but there was still a nurse over here that had that patient. Now, if I'm taking an order in an emergency or something, or there's something going on and I need to give that med right now, or I'm gonna be following through with doing this, I might come in here and just acknowledge it myself to say, look, I put it in, I'm acknowledging it because I'm the one doing it and I'm taking care of all of it. So you can, is the
We
point.
don't have to complete the process. is what
No,
I'm
no, 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 the orders have
understanding.
already been put in, the orders are there, the orders have gone. This is just signing off. All right, so we're gonna yellow arrow. And out the door. Another spot to view all the orders on your patient is up at the very top of your screen is an icon that looks like I don't know what it looks like. It kind of looks like a little a house with a red roof, or some guy's face with a red hair and a red nose. It's so small, it's hard to say. But it's called Order Management. And if you click on there,
I ended up with visit selection.
Yeah, I couldn't get out of there now and back on the phone again. It's the logistics of moving is,
well, that's why we're doing class, so everybody gets to practice. So go ahead back in, find your spot, and then click on the little red house. Order Management icon. Once you click on the Order Management icon, you're gonna see a tab here called Order Inquiry. Order Inquiry is like where you can go and view all of your orders that have been placed.
I don't know how to get out of this screen. I'm afraid to click the top red arrow. You said don't click it so many times, I'm afraid to do that. So how do
Exit
I-
out the door.
Oh, exit, okay. This will end your Paragon Order Management session, okay.
Okay, exit out your door. Okay, now go back into here.
Okay, it was getting here, but
Order Management.
Where is it? Where is it?
yeah, that's where I was.
Yep.
It's down.
You guys are doing good. All right, click on your Order Inquiry tab right here. And that's every order that's ever been placed on this patient, during this visit.
Oh, during this visit only.
This
okay.
visit only.
Oh,
And of course, these training patients have hundreds.
right.
And then if you're searching for one, cause like, let's say you said to yourself, oh my gosh, did I put in an activity order? I can't remember. And I need to make them a bed rest or whatever. You can actually click on description or any of these headers and filter your orders alphabetically, beginning to end. You can do it by start date. You can filter it however you like. Easy enough? Okay. All right. When you're done there, just go ahead and yellow arrow, go back. And you're going to yellow arrow and then go out the door. Some of you heard my joke already from last time, which was, you know, ladies don't jump out windows, we exit out the door, right? Tom, you're just out of luck today with the bathroom and the doors.
I'm okay. I've been doing this a long time. I've been subjugated to that other gender.
But it's just to help remember that you can use that door to get out of the program. Exit out the door. All right, so that is basically the gist of your training today. So I'd like to offer more time. You're all welcome to come in and click around, go to CPOE again, practice putting in some orders, pretend you have a new admission.
Is this something we can come in as an individual into training and practice at some point that's, you know, at a convenient time?
Well,
Do we just schedule that with time with you?
It's a problem only because we keep all of this very locked, so somebody has to be here for that time. Yes, we can allow extra time to come and sit at a PC and practice in the test environment, but we don't have test PCs at the hospital and things like that. You can certainly feel free to email me and I'll see if I can work something out. We use the training room. We have training all the time for different things. We also have residents that are in here, and so sometimes booking the room can be a little challenging, but you know, we can make that happen if you want, for sure. If ever you need anything at all, yeah, you can cut it. Make sure